Okay, we're up to Samich Beis on the base. We're going through the different lashons of mechira. What's included in the mechira? He said if a person sold a field and he said half of my field is sold to you, then it's half. If he says that half of what I own is so then it's a quarter. So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4 lines from the bottom. V'amar Rabba. He said a person says, right? V'amar Rabba. A person goes ahead and he says, a person selling a field to his friend, and he's leaving over for himself a piece of the field. So he's not selling the whole field; he's leaving over a piece. And he says, "Meitza aro demina palga." The border of the land that is part of my chelik should be 1 meitzar of the field, and that should remain. And the tzad sheni should remain for me. So what's his kavana? Is palga. He's selling him what? He's selling him half. Meitza ara demina psika, but if the boundary of the karka of his should be cut off, his kavana is that what? He's only selling him a shetach of shel tisha kavin. So there's a difference between where he says, I'm selling you the meitzar, or he says the lashon psika should be cut off. Amle Abaya, as previous Gemara, yes, Maishna Hachi and Maishna Hachi, what's the difference between the two cases? And Ishtik Rabba remains silent, and he answered Abaya. So Sabamina Idi Palga. The Gemara, the Kavanah Abaya was when he asked the question that both should get Palga. They both should get Palga. Veloihi, but it's not true. Dama Rav Yemar Bashalmi Lididima Farshi Mine de Abaya. This is what Abaya said. That Bein Meitza Ara Demina Palgo, Bein Meitza Ara Demini Psika, I Amar Lei Elon Mitzrana, this is your Meitzar Palga. If you Lama Lei Elon Mitzrana, then Tisha Kavim. It should be what? It should be Tisha Kavim. Okay, so in other words, we thought the Shaila was whether for sure you should get Palga in any situation, and really the Shaila was, at any time you go ahead, say whether you say Psika or Palga, Chelik, it should be what you should get. You should get only a Tisha Kavim. Okay, now the Gemara says Pshita in the following case that a person says Yachlik Ploini bin Chasai. He says Yachlik Ploini should go ahead and divide my property. So Palga, he would get half of his property. Right now, whatever he says Tnu Chelik Ploini bin Chasai, he doesn't say that you should be divided, but he says Ploini should take a chelik of my property. What's the din if he says that you should go ahead and take a chelik? What does he mean by that? Okay, so the Gemara says that Gemara seems to be pushed it. Gemara says Tashma. Let's be Ravina Bar Kisi. So it says Ravina Bar Kisi. Let's go ahead and be pushed the Shaila from the following case. The Tanya Aymatnu chelik leploni bibar. You should give chelik to ploni of my bar. Sumchus says, "Ein pachas miravia." He doesn't get less than a quarter. If he says the chelik in my bar should be lechavius, it should be for a barrel. Ein pachas mishminis, he doesn't get less than an eighth. Lekedera, he says the water in the bar I need for cooking for my pot. Ein pachas miyud beis. Letapiach, if he says it should be for if he says it should be for litapiach. What's litapiach? Is a small kli that you would drink from. Then ein pachas mishisha asa from the bar. So exactly what's going on over here. It seems that the Chachamim, according to Rashbam, they are mishayir that a person is a bar. You give a chelik at a bar, you're giving a half. But since you're mesupik, what he means, we know Sumchus is of the opinion that moment amulta b'safik chalkin. So the suffix is in a half, you're going to get a quarter. A chavius, it seems they knew the share was a quarter. So since you're suffix, what are you going to get? You're going to get an eighth. For kedera, right? The share was a sixth. And since it's the suffix, you're going to get a 12th. The tapiach for the small kli, the amount is an eighth, and therefore since it's misupik, you're going to get a 16th. So in other words, you take that and you divide it, and that's what you're going to get. That's the way the Rashbam explains the Gemara. Retan Rabbana. Ben Levi Shemacha Sadal Yisrael, Ba'oimeloi Al Minash Shemai Savishin Shali. Let's see Rashbam here. Okay, go to my Savishin Shaloi. Ben Levi It's smack in the middle of a lot of Rambans. Smack in the middle of the page. The Rashbam. Ben Levi Shemacha Urchadim Elsanaka. So it's Lav Dafka Ben Levi. It's anyone who sells it. The derech Ben Levi Amoicha Sadis to Yisrael. It's the derech of a Ben Levi who's selling a field to Yisrael. It's Anais Kach to make this condition. It's his derech to make this condition. Mishum Moisel Gabe. No sweat off his back. Mishum the Haitana Mishum Haitanamidi. This Tanai is not costing him anything. The Zen Nana is Zayn Chasa. This person's having a nod, the Levi, but this person's not Chasa. Why? Because he's a Yisrael and he doesn't get Meiser Rishon. Meiser Rishon goes to the Levi. The Belav Hachi, even without the condition, Haviyav Hailekeach Lahai Maisa. Right? If even if without the condition, this Lekeach would have to give Maisa Oiloi Oila Acher. He'd have to give what either to this Levi or some other Levi. The Ein Loiba Elataibas Hana. All this Moicha has, guy, this Lekeach has, is the right to give it to whichever Levi he wants to give. But it's not costing him any money. And the same din would be if Yisrael would sell his field to his friend. Listen, he can make that condition. Litnu to give. Okay, so guys, what's he doing? He's selling his field, and he's saying on the condition that I'm retaining rights for the Meiser Rishon. Okay, now, so Allah is Meiser Rishon Shaloi. Continues Rashbam, fellas. Who can mefarish the Kamon, as we explained. The kiban de'in adam koine dabash lebal olam. Since a person cannot acquire something that's not in this world, he can't acquire. Guys, the Meiser Sheni didn't grow yet. This is important. This is the sugya. The Meiser Sheni did not grow yet. Shiyuri Shire Mokai Meiser. Well, you know what he did? He left over the land where it'll grow, and the land is in this world. Right? Hilkach Meiser Rishon Shaloi. Therefore, the Meiser Rishon is his. And even if he would sell it to another person, so guys, outside, listen to the mechanics of this Gemara. I'm selling a field. Ari's a Levi. Ari's selling a field to me, and Ari says, "I'm selling you this field. I'm asked that I get the right to keep the Meiser Sheni." Now, Meiser Rishon. Excuse me, Meiser Rishon. I get to keep the Meiser Rishon, right? Now, well, why should I accept it? I can't keep the Meiser Rishon anyway. All I have is the right to give it whoever I want to, but I'm not. It's not any. It's the Zen Nenev Zeli, right? He's having a nod, no sweat off my back. Who Adin, if it wasn't Ari, if Heshi was selling it to me, who Adin the same thing, because Heshi can retain rights to give the Meiser Sheni to Ari. Let's say Ari's his favorite Levi, and he wants to give it to him. He could do that. But mechanically, how's it working? There is no Meiser Sheni, Meiser Rishon in the world yet. It's not here yet, the Meiser Rishon. Says the Rashbam, you're being Mishayir a piece of karka, and that is in the world. And from that karka, you're saying that karka will have I get my Meiser Rishon from. Guys, Memela, if I take it, I sell it to Me'aleib, Ari would still retain rights, because why? That was never mine to sell, because he was Mishayir it when he sold it to me in the first place. That's the key. When he sold it to me in the first place, it never was mine. So when I sell it to May, I'm selling the other part of the field. I'm not selling that chelik, because it's not mine. That's the key to the sugi, guys. Shiyu Mishai, you're leaving over something. So let's see inside. Tan Rabbanan. Ben Levi, Shemacha Sadal Yisrael, the Amaloi, Al Menashe Meiser Rishon Shali. The halacha is Meiser Rishon Shali, the Meiser belongs to him. From Amar Li Ulabanai, and if you would say it's to me and my children, and mace, and then consequently he would die. Yit and Lebanov, he would give it to his children. Vim Amaloi calls Mansha Sada Zubi Yodcha. This it's the Meiser Sheni Rishon is mine, is the whole name in your hands. Machra, if I would sell it to Me'aleib, v'chazav alacha, and I buy it back, then ein lo yalav klum. Then you have nothing. Good? Then you have nothing. Why, guys? Because what did he say? I only have rights the whole time it's in your hands. Once I sold it to Me'aleib, he lost that rights. And even though I get it back, then it's a whole new kinyan. So again, that's the sugya. That the whole din of being Mishaya something. Fred the Gemara Amai, why does it work? Now you know why it works. I foreshadowed you the reason. How in the world can you be mocked the Meiser Rishon? It's not in this world. It's not here. Says Rashbam Amai. Meiser Rishon Shalahu. How can the Meiser Rishon belong to Ari? Maisa zeh adayin asel lizara. This maisa is going to grow. Hatfua sheyatza mimenu. Af lachresh hasad etchila. Even if you went ahead and you plowed the field first, it's not there. So Fred the Gemara, how can we make the davar shel b'loilam? Back in the Gemara. Kivin the amalei al menas shemaisa rishon shali. Since he said when he sold it, I'm selling you the field on rights to retain rights to maisa rishon. Shiyure shiyara l'mokam maisa. He's leaving over the place of maisa. Says Rashbam. Kivin amalei al menas kloimar. Kivin al tenai mochar. Since Ari sold the field on a tenai, roitzahu she is kaima tenai. He wants the tenai to be fulfilled. He wants the tenai to be fulfilled. Then other masna al chinam. He's not making this condition stamazai in the luft. He's not making it like this. Uladas kain mochar, and therefore he sold it. Sheyikna ha'maisa, that he should acquire the maisa. Ulehilkach shayir biyodei karka haroy legad lebo ha'maisa. He left over in this sale, guys. Beautiful lashon of Rashbam. He left over in the sale what karka, which is in this world. It's if he said to the lekeach, Sada shali ani meichlecha la risas. I'm selling you my field for sharecropping. I'm not shetitel tes chalakim. I'm not that you take tes chalakim. And yetel chelik asir, and I'll take the 10th. In other words, I'm selling you the field, and you take 9 chalakim, and I'll take 1 chelik. That's the lashon Rashbam. That's the lashon Rashbam.
Unlike an apple tree or something, it grows automatically. Here I have to do clear, I have to sow, I have to do a lot of work.
Well, there's an opinion that since the trees in the world, that Rameya's opinion in the Mafka we saw, that since the trees in the world, then you could be makna a baloilam because it's going to come.
Right,
but it doesn't make a difference. It does. Again, you can do all the work you want over here. Everyone would say makna by an apple tree, even though it has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with work. It has to do with, you can't be makna something that's there. It's not there now. The svar of the apple tree is that since the trees in the world, right? It's the same svar over here. Since the karka is in the world, it has nothing to do with the work. You're pointing out a thing, but there's nothing to do with at some kinyan. So one's harder, one's not. It's nothing to do with the kinyan. Okay, so guys, so again, that's the alumnus. So again, this alumnus of this case. Amresh Lakish, Zay Meres. Rashbam, Amresh Lakish Halkap. So I say Meres, we can say from here. Brisa Zu, the Shaminon, the Chol Tanai, every condition, She'ena Loimaila V'Loimayrid, that doesn't make a difference. Guys, Ari's condition doesn't make a difference to me. Loimaila V'Loimayrid. I have to give it to my solution. I can give it to him. I can give it to anyone, just to make a difference. Elam Kain Shire. Anything that's not Ma'lamar, unless you leave over. Amrinan Shiyuri Shaya Makam La'atzmai Portamina. We say he leaves over a little bit. Shaminan Damoicha Bais L'Chaverai. If you sell a house to your friend, Va'amaloi Al Minashe Hadiyuta Hel Yoina Shali, that the Gag, upper Gag is mine. Hadiyuta Hel Yoina Shalai, who it's Gag Sheyesh by Makagvay Yud, Aminan B'Mestisan, Deina Machar Mabayis, Utanaize Eina Moil. The blav hachinami hari hushal meicher. Guys, outside eye contact. If I have I sell you a house, and on my roof is a roof with a mic of 10. What's the halacha? I didn't sell it to you. In other words, it's mine. Good. So now, if you go ahead and I'm selling my house. I'm selling it to Ari. I'm saying, Ari, guess what? I'm selling your house on the condition that you don't get the roof. What do you say? I didn't get the roof anyway. It's the same case as that case. I didn't get to my solution anyway. Just like in the case the Levi sells it, it's no sweat off my back. I'm not getting it anyway. So who adin, we're going to apply it to the same, you're not getting the roof with the, once you have, the Mishnah said, you have a mica on the roof, it's not part of the sale. So if you would sell it to you, with that condition, Labias. If you sell it with that condition, right? It must be, there's another condition over here. It must be the condition is doing something else. You know what I'm retaining? I'm retaining see right in the chutzner. Okay? So now, geschmack. Zay meres, guys. Zay meres. Hamoicha bias, and I would add the word if you have a pen. Chutzner. Guys, chutzner. Again, it doesn't say it, but the Rashbam from the Gemara, it's implied. You're selling a house and a chutzner. So you l'chaveiroi, v'amaloi, and you say the following: Al menashe diyuta hel yoyne shali. I'm selling this to you on the condition that the gag on the roof with a mica around it is mine. The halacha is the yuta el yoyne shalai. It's yours. It's yours. Good. It's yours. Now, what's the parallel, guys? Outside one more time. One more time. Just like by the karka, by the Levi. The Tanai didn't make a difference to the Lekeach because he has to give the Maisa Rishon anyway. Who adin if you're buying a house and only a house, and on the roof there's an area that's cordoned off with 10 tefachim. If the guy says, I'm selling you on this Tanai, no sweat off my back, it wasn't mine anyway. So I say meres, that what? Now, Lamai Hilchasa. So what? So what did you tonight do? What did you tonight do? Lamai Hilchasa says Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish, Hani Tanoi, Lamhavi Diyuti El Yoina Shaloi. What did he gain? The love Haki Hu Shaloi. Even without tonight, it's his. Fellas, people don't open their mouths for nothing. He made a condition, I'm selling you this house, and the condition you don't get the roof. So big, it's, you know what it's like saying, I'm selling you my car, Almanas, that you don't get the garage. Great. I know I don't get the garage. I know I don't get the gag. So what did tonight, when you said it tonight help, it must be what? Episcopiled. It must that it did something. You know what it did, guys? Outside. You know what it did? You would retain rights to put something in the chutzner. That's why I said, I'm moicha bayis for chutzner, because you're selling the chutzner also. The tanai that you make, that you're selling the yuta, would allow you to put a projectile out from the roof into the chutzner, because you're selling the chutzner as well. Rav Zvira Amar, Shimratza lahaitzi bazizin. If you want to put out these sticks into the chutzner, which you sold, mitzi, you're able to do that. Why? Because since you made a tanai, and the tanai doesn't help for the roof, because the roof you had anyway, it must be that it was for something. What's that extra something to put out? And that's why I told you right down, you sold the bias for chutzner. That's why it's important, because you're going ahead and you're saying, I'm retaining rights in the chutzner by saying I get the upper roof. I'm retaining rights to go ahead, and even though the chutzner I'm selling to you, I can go ahead and retain rights to put things out there. So let's see that Shvam, guys. Shemratza moicher lahoitzi zizim midiyutel yoina. If he wants to put out the sticks from the roof, keneged chatzah shalakeach, shemacha loizeh habayis ve'achatzah. Underline it. He's selling him the bias and the chatzah. Moitzi. Then he's able to go ahead and be moitzi. Delahachi ahanu tanoi. That's what his tanai is helping. V'hachi amalei al menashet he diyutel yoina shali legamri. Lasas b'chefzi. It's completely mine to do whatever I want. Even to go put out projectiles, like I was able to do before. Before I sold you the house for chutzner. The shayir b'tanai makam chutzner. He left over the tanai a place in the chutzner. He left over a place for the maisa rishon. The whole tanai loy mahani. Okay, my dekama type. Why'd you say it at all? Okay, guys, outside. Let's go through this again. One more time. Let's go through it one more time. A guy is selling his field with a condition. What's his condition? That I'm selling you the field of Manas, that what the Maisa Rishon belongs to me. This guy says, okay, that's great. Good. I have a Tovis. I know to give it whatever I want, but guess what? I'm gonna have to give it anyway. So it's no sweat off my back. Fred the Gemara, how do you do that? It's not there. You can't go ahead and be mocked to something that's not there. And for the Gemara, you know what you did? You left over karka. In other words, that you left over karka. Since you left over, so it's like you said, I'm leaving over a piece of karka. That's what you did. You left over a piece of karka to go ahead and give the Maisa. On that says the Reish Lakish, Leisei Meres, from this din that we said by Maisa Rishon, we can go ahead and apply it to the sale of a house with a condition. We saw the Mishnah said, if you sell a house, you're not selling the gag with the fence around it. It has a mic around the 10 tefachim, you're not selling it. So a guy sells you a house, he sells you a house and says, guess what? On the condition that you don't have the roof. You don't have the roof anyway. You don't have the roof anyway. Elama, it must be his Messiah something. Now, it can't be the roof. That's what. You got that anyway. So you know his Messiah to use the roof for anything he wants. That even though he's selling you the house and the chutzner, he's retaining the rights to take from the roof zizim and put him in the chutzner. He's retaining rights to go ahead and take zizim from the roof and put in the chutzner. That's what Rish Lakish says. And that's how Reb Zavid applies Rish Lakish. Rav Papa Amar, Shemoitza Libnes Aliyah Al Gaba, Boina. He wants to build. He wants to build. I'll never forget, guys. A great story. 45 years ago, I wasn't married yet. I wasn't married yet. I had a cousin who came from California. He was looking to buy a place in Eretz Yisrael. He was in Rechavia, and the guy had it near this. He's selling something. He's selling shit. So he says, "Great." He goes to a building, and he wanted to buy an apartment. He goes up to the top floor, and the guy opens the door and shows him the roof. He goes, he showed him the roof. He goes, "There you go." In other words, I'm giving you the right to build on the roof. Shine. So says Rav Papa, that's what you gain by saying what you want to retain right for the roof, to build on it. If you didn't make that Tanai, you won't be able to say it. But now that you made the Tanai, okay. Read the Gemara Kasha. So Bishleim el Rav Zavid Hainu Diktoni is like Meres. Bishleim is like Rav Zavid. The din of the gag and extending to the chutzner is the same din as what? As the karka extending to the maisa. El Rav Papa Maisa say Meres. Why do you need this Isai Meres? You could. It's the next Mishnah, guys. If you set, it's the next Mishnah. Look at the Rashbam. 5 lines down where it gets wide. El Rav Papa Maisa say Meres. Lama Leil Reish Lakish Leil Maisa say Meres. Why do Reish Lakish have to say, from the Brisa by Maisa Rishon? Lashmeina and the Hani Yiter, that it helped, the extra Lashon helps. Laksa v'limus hadiyuta in tipo, that if it falls in, you can go ahead and rebuild it. But like Brisa Nami Haviyadina and the Hani Yiter tonight. Shein it served with Fuye Musa. Okay, I'm not sure I told you right pshat. 1 second. Guys, it's not the story, it's not a good story. Okay, erase the story, it's not applicable. Here's what he's retaining rights that if it falls in, right, then he could rebuild. In other words, guys, I'm sorry, I told you wrong pshat. It's not pshat he wanted to build on the existing roof. If it fell in, then he could rebuild it. If he didn't have the Tanai, he won't be able to rebuild it. It's his. But if it falls in, no. Masha Enkain, if the Tanai helps that he's retained rights, it would be to rebuild it. So this has nothing whatsoever to do with the Brisa. So that's what Rav Papa is saying. So now with that, one more time. El Rav Papa, Ma'aseh Semeres, Lama Lo Reish Lakish Leim Ma'aseh Semeres, Lashminon da Hani Yita Lachsa, Velibna said Yoitim Tipo, but like Brisa Nami Havi Yadinon, da Hani Yita tonight. Even without the Brisa, there's Semeres, I'd know this din. Shenit Sorach Letfuye Mulsa. He doesn't have to get anything. I heard Rav Papa I Shum Dava Boilam. Can I mean Mas Nisans? We'll see in the next Mishnah. Umayder Rav Akiva is Mansham Lechutz Me'elo. So we're going to see that later on. The Chol, skip a line. The Chol tonight blade Sorach Letfuye Mulsa Kasi. When Brisa Shamina Leit Fame Mas Nisan. The Brisa doesn't tell us anything more than the Mishnah, so therefore it will be Kasha. Says the Gemara. Amrav Dimi Min Adai. Okay, this is going to accompany us to the Mishnah. We're not going to finish the Mishnah today, but this is the sugya. Amrav Dimi Min Adai. Hayman de Masvele Basel Chavre. He's selling a house to his friend. And he's also selling a bar of vidus. He's also selling a water source. Good? He's selling both. He's selling what? A house and it's a water pit. Afagav the Kosovle, even though he wrote in the star, I'm selling you oimka, its depth, veroima, its height. Sarach lemichtavle, you have to write, kenilacha me'atahoim, ara, Biad roim rakia, till the depths of the land, until the height of the rakia. In other words, it's mashma fellas. If you would just say you would not acquire the bar vidus. You needed the lashon of what to hoim and the rakia to acquire the bar and the vidus. You needed that. Again, oim is not going to do it. You needed what? You needed the lashon of what of rakia and to Says Rashbam. Hayman the Masvule Beisel Lechavre in the middle. In addition to that, he's selling a bar v'dus. He has to write. He has to write that lashon oim kavroima. Afa gad the cost of lebishtar oim kavroima shal bayis ani meichlecha loy kona bar v'dus. You will not acquire the bar v'dus, even though you wrote oim kavroima. You would not acquire it. The loy ahani mashakost of oim kavroima el mikni oim kashal bayis kigoin gufa karka atzmai to acquire it. Lach b'tachas karkia sabayis to allow you to dig underneath. Im yirtzeh shim loy cost of if you didn't write oim kavroima. You wouldn't acquire that right. The seller would retain rights. So So guys, listen to this. I'm selling to Yehuda Kerpa. I'm selling him as my house. And I don't say Oimke V'roima. Yehuda would not be able to build for himself. He won't be able to dig. I would dig. By saying Oimke V'roima, you know what I'm doing? I'm giving him the right to dig. But he would not acquire the bar v'dus. That you only acquire by saying the Tahim Rakia. Again, this Gemara is going through the exact lashonis of sales. So we would think I'm selling you a house with a bar in it, and I'm selling you my Oimka V'roima. You would think you acquire the bar. It's not true. All you would do is acquire the rights to dig your own bar, but the existing bar would not be sold. If you want to sell the house with an existing bar, you'd have to add from the Tahim to the Rakia. You'd have to add that, and then it would be sold. That's what Dimi's din, guys. So Rav Dimi's din, to reiterate, Oimke V'roima would only give you rights to the Oimke V'roima. You need it for itself. In other words, Yehuda would not have a right to dig. He wouldn't have a right to dig. And he needs the Oimka to give him the right to dig. You need a Legufei. You need it for itself. So you would not acquire the Bavridus. That's Rav Dimi's din. That's Rav Dimi's din. So Nachamal, one more time. Rav Dimi Adai. He's selling a house to his friend. Even though he's right, he writes some comment again. He's selling what a bar v'dus as well. In order to sell the bar v'dus, in order to acquire the bar v'dus. My timer, the oimke v'roima b'stama loikana. You're not going to be kind of what the bar v'dus. What does it help for? Akani oimke v'roima lemikne oimke v'roima. It gives Yehuda the right to go ahead and dig his own oimek, the bar. And then the lashon of Tahoim and Rakia would help to go ahead and acquire the bar v'dus. That's of the Dimi's. Lema, let us say, Messiah, I have a raya. Let's bring a raya to Rav Dimi. The next Mishnah, guys. If you sell a house, what's the next Mishnah? Samach Dalet and Aleph. Lo yasabar v'lo yasadus. They're not included in the sale. Afa pisha kasav lo oimke v'roima. Even if you said the lashon of oimke v'roima. Afa pisha kasav lo oimke v'roima. So what do you see? That oimke v'roima is not going to do the job to get the bar v'dus. You need the Tahaim and the Rakia do it. Good. Lame Messiah to Rav Dimi from a Mishnah. Rav Dimi is an Amoira. If you don't say oimke v'roima, right? Kana, you would acquire the rights to go ahead and dig. And oimke v'roima lahani oimke v'roima lemiknei bar v'dus mechilois. And therefore, the lashon of oimek v'roima would give you the right to go ahead and acquire the bar v'dus. Again, min astam, you'd say that what he acquires the rights to dig himself. Oimke v'roima then would go on bar v'dus. So l'chayra, so you have a raya that what? Okay, you have a raya that what? That you have to add. So you see that the stam and mechir, you don't get the bar v'dus, even though you wrote Oimke v'roima. If the Gemara you have no raya, it could be, says Gemara, loy tzricha, loy kosev loy, you didn't write it. In other words, enochinami, guys, it could be if you wrote it, you would get the bar v'dus. Here's speaking where you didn't write it. Again, Rav Dimi says, Oimke v'roima, you wouldn't get the bar v'dus. Benji asked the question. The guys, look at, okay, the Gemara's going to ask next. I read your mind. Says the Gemara. I'm a free safety. I'm reading your eyes. Says the Gemara. Pretty good. Says the Gemara, guys, Geschmack. Guys, here's the riot. Guys, look at me. We want to bring a riot from the next Mishnah. Even though you wrote Oimke V'Roima, you didn't sell the bar v'dus. That's Rav Dimi's din. You'd have to say the time for a Kia. And for the Gemara, you didn't say Oimke V'Roima. Look at the Mishnah, guys. How can you say you didn't say it? The Mishnah says you did say it. Read the Gemara, back in the Gemara now. You said you said it. So no hachi come on. Even if you didn't say it, kimisha kasav dami lemikli aimka v'roima. Lemikli bar v'dus mechilas yikas le'aimka v'roima kani v'lo kas le'kani. Perish. Here's the way, guys. Read the Mishnah following. You're selling a house. Included in the sale is what? Included in the sale is what is if you didn't say anything. Right? In other words, if you didn't say anything, it's as if you wrote Oimke V'Roima. You know why? Because Oimke V'Roima is not going to get you the bar v'dus. Only Tahoim and Rakia will get you the v'dus. That's the Rav Dimi's learning pshat in the Mishnah. Again, in the Havamina, you'd have to say it. It's l'chayra shver on Rav Dimi, right? Rav Dimi says you're not going to get the bar v'dus Oimke V'Roima, right? So the Mishnah says so l'chayra it's a good raya. Says the Gemara, what are you talking about? It's no good. No l'chayra. He says l'chayra it is a good raya because you don't get the bar v'dus. And the Gemara says that what? The Gemara says that what? Like you didn't write it. So if you didn't write it, you have no raya. If you didn't write it, kamisha kasav dummies. If you did write it, and that would help you. Lemikni oimke v'roima, right? Lemikni oimke v'roima, lemikni bar v'dus mechilais ikasav oimke v'roima kani. You have to write it inside. Ilay kasav lay kani. So you have no raya from the Mishnah. In other words, if you didn't say it, you don't get anything. If you did say it, all you would get is oimke v'roima, which is the chayra is the raya to Rav Dimi, but you won't get the bar v'dus. I'm sorry, I'm not being clear. We want to bring a raya from the Mishnah to Rav Dimi. I'm saying you have no raya from the Mishnah. What would the raya to Rav Dimi be from the Mishnah be? Because the Mishnah says, even though you said Oimke V'Roima, you're not getting the bar. That's the raya. Says the Gemara, you have no raya. It's there speaking where you didn't say, really, it could be you say Oimke V'Roima, you would get the bar. Really, you would get the bar, but you didn't say it. Fred the Gemara, it says that you did say it. Says the Gemara, no. It means if you said stam, it's as if you said it. You know, if the lashon afa pisha kasav lay afish kasav katani afa pisha lay kasav lay kimisha kasav dani. Even if you did not write it, as if you did write it, lemikni oimke v'roima. Okay, in other words, you would get the rights to dig even if you didn't write it. Yehuda would be able to dig if he just sold him the house without saying anything. However, if you do say Oimke V'Roima, then you would even get the bar v'dus, which is not Rav Dimi's din. So in other words, we're slugging up the raya. Let's see it inside. Let's bring a raya to Rav Dimi that you have to say to Haim V'Rakia that Oimke V'Roima is not going to work. Guys, one more time. The Mishnah says, V'layas the bar v'layas adus. Afa pisha kasav lay Oimke V'Roima. Even though you're right, you only get bar v'dus. You're not getting bar v'dus. If you sakadaytach b'stama kani Oimke V'Roima. If you could tell me mistam, if guys stam, Yehuda would have a right to dig. You would get the Oimke V'Roima without mentioning it. Lahani Oimke V'Roima, let the lashon of Oimke V'Roima help. Lemitni bar v'dus mechilais. El, it doesn't. That's the right to Rav Dimi. Says more like it's like sricha like kosovle. You didn't say it, and that's why you didn't say it, and that's why you enachanami. If you would say Oimke V'Roima, you would get the bar v'dus, but you didn't say it. Fred the Gemara for afa pisha kosovle katani. You don't get it. It's mashma. You do say it. Says Mahachi Kama. Afa bishlei kasav loy, even if you write stam, it's kamisha kasav dami lemikli Oimke V'Roima. Yehuda would get a right to dig if what? Stam. If stam would be as if I wrote Oimke V'Roima, even though I didn't. However, lemikni bar v'dus l'mechilos, then you mamish have to write. Kasav lo Oimke V'Roima, then kani. Loy kasav, loy kani. So again, going over Rav Dimi's din is clear. Rav Dimi says that Oimke V'Roima is just going to Machloikis. What does Oimke V'Roima do? Like Rav Dimi, it gives the balabayas the right to dig. It doesn't give him the bar b'dus. For that, you need time for a kia. Good? That's his thing. And in Bez Hashem, we'll finish it tomorrow.